Today we are going to look at convenience mixes. We're going to attempt to make sap green using nickel azo yellow from Core and ultramarine blue deep by Senoyer. Nickel azo is a very earthy, bright, acidic type yellow. It is actually my very favorite mixing yellow. We are mixing directly on the paper in this series. Okay, a little too much ultramarine blue. So I think it's valuable for my students to learn how to mix on the paper. You get a very different look when you mix in the palette versus on the paper. So I think it's important to know how to do both. If I want to make it a little darker, put a little more ultramarine in there. We're doing this with very wet mixtures, so we can see the variations. A little more yellow because we've gone a little too much to the blue side. Take some water out of my brush. Sap greens tend to be more on the warmer side. I think that's a pretty good one right there. Okay, the next one we're going to mix is leaf green. We're going to use, you have to have very clean brushes to do this. You're going to use lemon yellow. And phthalo blue, green shade. Just the tiniest bit though. You do not need much phthalo blues. The phthalos are staining colors, so you're going to need much more of the yellow. So your mixtures are not 50-50. They are determined by the strength of the pigments, their tinting strength, and their value. That's a pretty good one right there. A little more yellow maybe. And these are just approximates. If you need this color and you don't have to have it, you don't happen to have it on your palette, it's nice to be able to do this. This is lemon yellow. And my lemon yellow is by Senoyer. This is lemon yellow and Payne's Gray. This Payne's Gray is by Core. This is going to make one beautiful green. Payne's Gray and lemon yellow make the most gorgeous greens. This is a wonderful exercise. I love my students to do this. That is a beautiful perylene green right there. Okay, let's make a phthalo turquoise using phthalo blue green shade and phthalo green. You can see, of course, you know the phthalos are very high in staining and saturation. This will make a lovely turquoise. This is a standard mix in all my classes. Well, a lot of my classes. There's gorgeous, gorgeous. Look how pretty that sap green is, granulating. That's the ultramarine blue in the mixture granulating. So let's take phthalo green and alizarin crimson from M. Graham and make a black. So if you need a black on your palette, I don't use a black other than lunar black. I do use lunar black. And this is a tricky mixture. You have to get the ratios correct to get a black. You get some lovely dark colors though. You can see the black right there. I have this little journal on a slant so that we can see mass tone when it settles down into the bottom down here. So there's your black. And if you've been mixing colors as long as I have, which is over 40 years, it does get easier. So don't get discouraged if you have a hard time doing this. Alizarin crimson, excuse me, yes, the alizarin crimson and turquoise. Okay, alizarin crimson. This is in grams, alizarin crimson. I'm using a mop brush here. It's a small one. And I'm using turquoise by Gram also. Let me see if we get another dark. That's almost black. I teach a color theory class every few years, and this is the most important part of color theory right here. It's very complicated, though. It's hard to get the whole class in when you're teaching a class, so I thought I would do this to have this on YouTube to make it easier for everyone. Let's make a viridian using lemon yellow and cobalt blue. Now, we're not going to get an exact viridian because viridian, of course, is a pigment in itself. But I think we can get fairly close to it. Nice soft blue-green. So we're going to need some more cobalt blue. Trying to find a nice soft blue-green. That's pretty good right there. Soak up some extra water. Okay, we're going to try to make a cerulean. Let's tidy that up a bit. With lemon yellow and cobalt blue, same mixture. But we're going to go more on the blue side this time. A little less yellow. Let's see what happens here. So we're going greener here, so here we're going bluer. So what you'll find is most of these combinations can go either way. They can go more toward the blue side or more toward the green side, depending on which ones you use the most. Okay, let's do a dioxazine violet using quinacridone magenta and phthalo blue green shade. You know, dioxazine violet's a crazy color, so we have to use, because it is so saturated, you have to use quite a saturated combination to get that color. Okay, that's way too blue. Oh, there we go. There we go. We're getting closer to it. Dioxazine is really a, what I would call a purple. There it is. Okay, over here, we're going to try to make a neutral tint. That's going to be using Payne's Gray and alizarin crimson. Neutral tint is a more of a violet dark. So you just have to push it to the violet side. So there you have a nice neutral tint. If you need that. You can see it's more violet. Let's make an azo green using nickel azo yellow. You see how lovely these are when you combine them on the paper? That's another thing I wanted you guys to see. And Payne's Gray. A little bit of Payne's Gray in that. If we use too much, it's going to be too dark. There we go. If I had to choose one yellow for my entire palette, it would be Nicolazo yellow. It is so versatile. Such a versatile color. You can make so many mixtures with it. Okay, let's try to make a Quin Gold with Nicolazo yellow. And the Nicolazo yellow I use is by Core. And this is Nicolazo yellow and burnt sienna. And my burnt sienna, of course, is Da Vinci. Burnt sienna deep. And look at that. So you can really save yourself a lot of money making these mixtures yourself, as long as you remember how to do it, which is why I'm doing this this video for you. Okay, we're going to make a transparent Pyrrole Orange now. Use Nicolazo yellow and Pyrrole Red. And the Pyrrole Red I'm currently using on this palette is by Sennelier. It's Sennelier Red. So any Pyrrole Red will do. We just have to get it to the right temperature. And that is pretty close right there. Pretty close. All right, let's make a burnt umber using Phthalo Blue Green shade and burnt sienna. Of course, it's going to make us a brown because you're using a red and a blue, or excuse me, an orange and a blue. So anytime you mix those, you're going to get some version of a brown or a gray, depending on which one you use the more, which pigment you use the majority of. So there's your burnt umber. We could have made that stronger if we wanted to. And okay, here's another sap green with phthalo green and burnt sienna. So I'm trying to show as many alternatives for you as I can, that I can remember, so that you can have lots of choices, because not everyone has all these pigments on their palette. Okay, there's our sap green. You can see we've got a different version here. This one was brighter and this one is more muted. So that's two different choices for you there. Here's Indanthrone Blue we're going to make using quinacridone magenta, the littlest bit of that, and Phthalo Blue Green shade. That's just going to push it a little bit to the violet side. A little more magenta. And there is your Indanthrone Blue. Okay, we're going to make a cobalt blue by using ultramarine blue. And cerulean blue chromium. These two are on each side of cobalt blue, so if you mix the two together, you're going to get something that resembles cobalt blue. Right there. Okay, last one is Phthalo Blue Green shade and Leaf Green. Phthalo Blue Green shade. And Leaf Green, which is just one of my favorite greens on my palette. Too much green. Let's get some of that off. It's very hard to add these phthalo colors and not overwhelm the mixture. So this gives us a nice permanent green mixture if you're looking for a nice permanent green, mid-green. All right, there you have it. Gorgeous, gorgeous mixtures right here. So we have nickel azo yellow and ultramarine blue making a sap green, lemon yellow and phthalo blue, green shade making a leaf green, lemon yellow and Payne's gray making a perylene green, phthalo turquoise made with phthalo blue green shade and phthalo green and alizarin crimson make a black, alizarin crimson and turquoise made this lovely dark, this lighter soft green, lemon yellow and cobalt blue. Here's another version of it with lemon yellow and cobalt blue that made more of a cerulean, making dioxazine violet using quinacridone magenta and phthalo blue green shade, making a neutral tint using Payne's gray and alizarin crimson, making an azo green using nickel azo yellow and Payne's gray, making a quin gold using nickel azo yellow and burnt sienna, a transparent pyrrole orange using nickel azo yellow and pyrrole red, or that was Sennelier red, which is pyrrole red, a burnt umber using, that's really pretty, with phthalo blue green shade and burnt sienna, another sap green with phthalo green and burnt sienna, indanthrone blue with quin magenta and phthalo blue green shade, cobalt blue with ultramarine blue deep by Sennelier, and cerulean blue chromium by Daniel Smith, and a nice mid-green, like a permanent green, using phthalo blue green shade and leaf green. I hope you found this helpful.